So one of the things I like to do when I'm working with vocals and I need to fix the tonal response is I like to invert their tonal response if there's a tonal response that is imbalanced. So what do I mean by that? If you get a vocal response like what I have here with the AKG C214, it's a really bright mic, and when I recorded it, it will give you a scoop in the mids and a little fizziness on the top end, but there's not enough girth, that mid-range presence, in order for the vocal to come through clear and punch through the mix. So it sounds like this.
Hold up, rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed.
Like you can hear all the sibilances, the T's and stuff happening inside of this vocal, right? And so what I'll do is this. I'm going to run this in mono because mono is your best friend. So with this calibration only being for my event opals, I'm not going to need to enable the calibration. We're just going to leave that off. I just want this to run mono, and we're listening through my super audio cubes. Why I'm using my super audio cubes? Because they have a definite dynamic transient accuracy in the mid range. So it's perfect for vocals. No, they're not the mix cubes or the aura tones where they have band limited ranges. The super audio cubes 5 have a full range spectrum, and they're just super tight when it comes to dynamic and transients. So with that being said, let's take another listen, this time in mono.
Rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed. Pills seem to be sinking sand in the times we live. I'm just trying to speak truth in the world of confusion. You can pick and choose how you gon' deal.
So Neve preamps tend to emphasize the mid-range, chop off some of the highs, and kind of cut away your low frequencies. But because this is a vocal and a female vocal, we don't really need to worry about anything less than 150 hertz. But what we need to concentrate on is the top end, and it provides a roll-off in that top end first and foremost. And then because it's a vocal, it's beautiful emphasizing the mid-range. So take a listen to this.
Hold up, rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed. Pills seem to be sinking sand in the times we live. I'm just trying to speak truth in the world of confusion. You can pick and choose how you gon' deal in the future. Is it me, or is nothing how it should be?
It's really obvious the way it comes in and out, and I'm really paying attention to those high frequencies. Give it one more listen. I'm actually going to make this -1 dB output as far as gain matching goes. Now take a listen.
Hold up, rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed. Pills seem to be sinking sand in the times we live. I'm just trying to speak truth in the world of confusion. You can pick and choose how you gon' deal in the future. Is it me, or is nothing how it should be?
Now this is blatantly obvious on my Super Audio Cubes 5. I couldn't call it subtle even if somebody decided to pay me to live. It's almost impossible to not notice the change in high frequencies and mid-range content inside of here, to the point the mid-range has actually become more dynamic on certain words. So I'm gonna push this to the point I start hearing distortion. There's something lovely about transformers and pushing it to the brink of distortion, but not really getting enough to go off the edge.
Hold up, rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed. Pills seem to be sinking sand in the times we live. I'm just trying to speak truth in the world of confusion. You can pick and choose how you gon' deal in the future. Is it me, or is nothing how it should be? Hold up, rewind the time to insanity was real. 100 ain't keeping up, it's still sealed. Pills seem to be sinking sand in the times we live. I'm just trying to speak truth in the world of confusion. You can pick and choose how you gon' deal.
Bueno. So that's how I like it. So that's just one way that I like to tackle this problem. You put something like this on the vocal and you make it shine, and it sounds absolutely beautiful. Let me jump over to another session to give you another example of what I would do inside of this scenario. So here I have opened another session, and we're gonna pay attention just to the first verse because it's only gonna take a small little vocal snippet to understand what I'm talking about. So one of the other things that you can do, and this only applies if you're using Studio One 5 Professional and you have purchased this add-on, but there are many replacements for this type of thing. You got the Waves, NLS, nonlinear summing. I believe UAD has some stuff. No, something like that. What I'm talking about is console emulation plugins. And what they are really good at doing is working either an algorithm or in some type of API level where they can alter the data coming in to better emulate a console saturation at the input and output stages. We're going to be using the CTC-1 because this is supposed to emulate another Neve. I'm not really specific on which Neve it is, nor do I really care. All I want to know is, does it give me that Neve sound like the Omega N? And to my surprise, let me bypass this. Here's the vocal.
Trying to prove to God who the boss is. Rather not cling to any losses. They come and go and on the show are you exalted. They hung me at the trial on the grilly crosses. Trying to prove to God who the boss is. I'd rather not cling to any losses. They come and go and on the show are you exalted.
So you can see this one's a little bit more subtle than the Omega N, and it's specifically because the Omega N is meant to really kind of distort, while this is supposed to be used in a subtle manner unless you crank up the character to allow multiple passes of the same signal being fed through this system multiple times. But with this, you can hear how the audio is kind of being shaped into this sound, this signature sound of what we want more. I want you to listen to the drive of this to get a better feel. What I found is that the drive really helps you to understand what's happening to the audio. So the more you turn up the drive, as I was using the brick console and the API, the Alpine strip, I started to realize turning up that drive is actually giving you more of the tone that is shaping this into. So normally I don't need to use a drive, unless I want to really accentuate the saturation. But to give you a more extreme, exaggerated understanding of this, I'm gonna drive up the character instead.
They hung me at the trial on the grilly crosses. Trying to prove to God who the boss is. I'd rather not cling to any losses. They come and go and on the show are you exalted.
The character didn't really do that much for me. The only thing I kind of heard was some of the high frequencies dip down a little, but that was about it. The only other thing that I really like about this is the crosstalk, and that's because it helps glue a lot of elements together. It's a cheap way of using compression without using compression, I know, but it sounds really good. For that reason, it helps blend in multiple tracks together. So between it giving a little push to some of the compression inside of your tracks or between your tracks and altering some of your bus emulations or your bus compressions that you're running, it helps morph this group of tracks together differently. You can kind of hear it somewhat dip down. Some of the attack of the vocals kind of like dip just a tad bit. So that's what it was doing for me. It was like the vocals getting shyer in the background. But some of this is kind of feel. Other parts of this is like I just noticed that, but I don't know if that's part of the vocal. But anyway, that's about where I kept it because it sounded kind of good to me. Alright, so if you like that video, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you like me, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll probably be making another video about all my woes that I've been having setting this up for the past month.